What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy, Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. So, it appears that Kader Kohou is going to be re-signing with the Dolphins. We put a tender on him a couple weeks ago, basically meaning if any team wanted to trade for him, they had to give us back some assets for it. And usually when you do this, it's like you want to keep the player, but you don't want to overcommit. You're almost kind of playing the market. So, it was, hey, we think no one's going to jump above this. Put that tender on you. Now, sometimes it backfires, right? Somebody comes in over the top and takes the player. Usually, 8 out of 10 times, people are like, all right, we don't want to deal with that part. People want free agents. They want people that's clean. They don't want to deal with compensation. They just want to sign the player. So we did this hoping we could re-sign him. Now, in the meantime, we did make a few secondary free agency moves. So I don't know how all this fits together. We have a surplus of experienced, cheap secondary people right now. There's probably 8 to 9 guys in the secondary that are just kind of floating around. We got J Ram, and everybody else is just like, hey, I can play, coach. Put me in, coach. Like a lot of 1-year contracts, a lot of you kind of nomad type players who are just on the team. Like I think Kader Kohou could be a rotational piece. I like Kader actually. I know he's been a little inconsistent, but I think his upside is starting nickel corner. I don't see him being like cornerback 2, but I do think he can do the job. But downside is him being like a really good special team guy. I don't see him being a guy we have to get rid of. We don't know anything about the pecking order of the secondary right now. That hasn't really been discussed. I think it's almost like remember the one scene in The Dark Knight where the Joker robs the bank and it's like 2 of the flunkies. No, that's not the scene. Sorry, I got it wrong. It's when Gamble is about to kill the Joker. Joker kills him, and it's 2 of his henchmen. And he takes a pool stick, breaks it in half, and he's like, y'all fight it out. Whoever survives is going to be on my squad, basically. I think that's kind of what Miami's doing. We're going to put 7 cornerbacks in a room, Squid Games this, and we're going to see what happens. Who comes out on top as, I'm assuming, DB3, because I assume we're going to draft the person we want to actually start. So we're going to put you guys in the room, just figure it out, and we'll see who starts. I think Kader has a good chance. He already knows the defensive scheme. He's young, high upside. I think even if he has a good year, I don't think his asking price is going to be crazy. The fact that most of the league needs cornerbacks and the asking price for him was not that high right now and no one tried to take him away tells me that the league may not think of his value as high as we do. So I think he's in a pretty good position, but I'm mad I messed that Dark Knight reference up. Great movie, and I'm disappointed in myself. We'll move on. So there's a report today that the Dolphins might be considering Tyron Smith at tackle. Now, most of you know that Tyron Smith was all world when he played for the Cowboys, right? 5-time All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler, fast track to the Hall of Fame. Probably still gets in now. Last couple of years have been dicey, but first 10 years put him up there below like the Orlando Pace type guys. He's not that tier, but he's that next tier down. Tremendous career. Obviously, the Cowboys don't win championships, so he doesn't have one. that's hate, but whatever. But he's 34 years old, and he just does not stay healthy. Everyone knows Tyron Smith when he plays is fantastic. Even last year when he played, he's in the top 20 of tackles. Like he's not, number 1 like he used to be. More than a starter, plenty of experience, still a big guy, 6'5", 320. Like knows all the tricks of the trade, but just can't stay healthy. He's basically in his last 80 games played like 40. If he misses half of the time he's available, but the time you get him, he's very good, and so that's why he's still in the market. If he was his healthy self, he would have been snapped up day 1. Plenty of teams in offensive tackles. I mean, he's one of the GOATs, but he's injury prone, and so he's still available. We still don't know what's happening with Teron Armstead, and Austin Jackson's still coming back from an injury. So we're not exactly we're not in love with that situation. We know Patrick Paul wants to have the job. There's a lot of shifting around of players, but Tyron Smith day 1, I think we can do this if he's willing to come for a low enough amount of money. I very much believe in the idea of veterans teaching the youth, right? So let's say Teron Armstead retires. It seems like that's a real possibility. If Patrick Paul goes to tackle, it'll be like his first year really starting. I think he would start over Tyron Smith, but just being in the same room, I want Tyron Smith to teach him, hey, I'm a 5-time All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler. This is what I do to become a great tackle. Let me show you some of that. And then we can fill in different ways because there's always injuries on the offensive line. Very few teams go a whole season with a healthy O-line. I think Detroit did a year ago, and that's like a super anomaly where, you guys play every game together. Most teams, yeah, centers out, guards out, tackles out. You need to have guys that are rotational to fit in. But just having Tyron Smith in the building, I think would be amazing because I'm sure Armstead helped out Patrick Paul last year, but I think that the height of Tyron Smith is higher than Teron's height. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's a better overall player teaching you skills, and we can actually play you. Like, he's not so old I can't play. He's just not the guy he used to be. And again, I don't know what the price is looking like. The fact that he's still a free agent is kind of wild to me. He hasn't said he wanted to retire. He's only 34. I'm saying only. But he's 34, and again, he's been very injury prone. I do not like injury prone players to be dependent on. Meaning, if we had no offensive tackle and it was like, all right, let's put all our eggs in the Tyron Smith basket, not here for it. I think that's a bad move. He almost certainly is not going to play more than 10 games. Like, I would bet a fair amount of money not playing more than 10 games. Look at Trent Williams. Trent Williams has probably had a better career than Tyron Smith has, but Trent Williams does not play full seasons. He just doesn't. I know a lot of San Francisco fans, they love him. He's great. He's a bully. He's all those things. He also is going to miss 4 to 6 games every year. You can just guarantee it. And it's just something that happens as you get older. Sometimes you get surgeries on the same knee, the same hip, the same back over and over and over again, and you're never whole again. And Tyron Smith, early on, tremendous. Will still miss 2 or 3 games back when Zeke was Zeke and early Dak and all that. He would play a lot, Pro Bowl, All-Pro. He would still miss a couple games then. But as he started getting older, you started missing 4 games, 5, 6. I think if you get him now, you pray for 8. You pray for half a season. If we can get 8 games out of you, and then if we can get your leadership in the room and helping our team out, that's like a bonus. But you cannot get him now thinking we got 17 games. No chance. I would eat this hat, and I like this hat, if he can do 17 games. So hopefully I don't have to do that. But I think it's an interesting idea to sign him. I don't know how serious we are about going that way. It will probably be like a 1-year situation. So that's why I think it can make sense if you're bringing him in as a 1-year bridge tutor kind of player. And then Paul, or if we draft an offensive tackle, takes over going forward and we just kind of ride out. He's not your 3-5-year solution. So we'll see what happens. And finally, this is such a wild story. So we know AI is taking over the world. Depending on what you do, at some point there'll be AI me doing this, right? With a cool beard and a nice hat. So there's an AI draft analysis model, and it projects what teams are going to do based on whatever AI deems to be factors to factor into that. And they had the Dolphins drafting Matthew Golden, who's a wide receiver from Texas. Now, I heard that, and like most of y'all, I'm like, why? Got plenty of receivers, great receiver. Doesn't make any sense. Why would you put a hat on a hat? Doesn't make any sense. So I want to play the game. I want to justify why would AI have us getting Matthew Golden in the first round? And it only makes sense in these 2 respects. The draft analysis I've seen on him so far is that he's comparable to Tyreek Hill in terms of how he plays. He's quick. He's very sudden. He gets separation. He's hard to tackle after the catch, but not the biggest guy in the world, right? Polished sometimes. Routes can be a little messy. Temperament can kind of go up and down, right? This sounds very Tyreek Hillish. Tyreek obviously is top end faster, but the way they play on the field, there's some similarities. If you think of it like Matthew Golden being a toned down version of Tyreek, okay? This only makes sense if AI is factoring in that it's likely Miami is going to trade Tyreek and that we need to fill his position. If that's the case, I still think we should spin the pick on an offensive tackle or someone on the defense. But if the idea is we don't want to change the offense at all, we need 2 burner receivers and then Nick Westbrook really taking the top off being the bigger guy. That's how the offense works because the offensive routes are usually 12 to 15 yards down the field. We need you to get there as fast as possible because we want Tua to throw the ball inside of 2.5 seconds, right? That's the philosophy of the offense. Get to that 12 to 15 yard mark fast. Tua gets the ball out quick. We need a receiver that can do both those things, that's good in between the tackles, quick, like explosive, all that. Then, yeah, you can't just plug any receiver in. You need a certain receiver with a certain skill set. And height-wise, I think he's an inch taller than Tyreek. So you're basically taking an older Tyreek and plugging in a Matthew Golden. That's essentially what is factoring in. If that's the case, that makes sense a little bit. I don't think it's still the best way to build a team. I believe if we let Jalen Waddle be wide receiver 1, Nick Westbrook be wide receiver 2, and Malik be wide receiver 3, I think our offense will be fine. Jonnu, I guess it could be the third target, but tight end 1. Like, the offense still makes sense. But if that's what it's factoring in, that kind of makes sense. I don't think it's the best way to build a team. I like Matthew Golden. I think somehow he's become wide receiver 1. It was T-Mac the whole time. And then it was like, oh, if you want to give, Travis Hunter wide receiver 1, whatever. And all of a sudden, Matthew Golden, some of it's the combine, just emerged. And now it's like, oh, yeah, he's wide receiver 1. Like, there's no questions asked about it. So if you can get the best player at their position in the draft, I think you did a good job. I don't think we need it. But if the idea is that we're going to trade Tyreek for picks and assets, we get Matthew Golden with the first pick and then use all those other picks to move up and down the draft to kind of fill positions. I can see the logic behind it. But that's AI talking, and I don't want to give it any more credit because I don't want to take my job. It's so stupid. But as always, guys, thank you for tuning in to Dolphins Daily. We appreciate the love and support. Thank you guys for crushing it with the like and subscribe goals. We'll see you guys next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.